right, good evening, everybody. Let's go ahead and kick off today, October 28th, this regular Board of Commissioner meeting for the town of Waxhaw. I'd invite you all to rise for our opening ceremony, the Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence to give thanks and praise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty, thank you very much. So it looks like we have a minor amendment to the agenda. Item E4 has been removed as it is not ready at this time. Are there any other amendments or adjustments to tonight's agenda?
Yes, I would like to add to old business, so I-2 motion on downtown master plan.
Alrighty, any other adjustments or amendments? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
So
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. This agenda is now adopted. Next up, we have general public comments. This is a point in the evening where public can make their general comments directed to the board as a whole and not a single individual. You have 3 minutes. I think the first one we have was a mail-in. One Judy Davis sent us a lovely note that you wish to read.
Yes. This is a comment from Judy Davis. Thank you for your service to our government, Mayor Pro Tem Brendan, Commissioner Tracy, and Jason. You served honorably to this sweet town of my ancestors. Godspeed, Joyce. Judy Davis.
Well, thank you. Next up, we have a Mr. Dan Garrett.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I'm Dan Garrett, and I speak to you today as a local resident who is concerned about the long-term future of downtown Waxhaw. For over 50 years, I have been involved in serving communities to help improve the quality of life. I've worked with local, state, and national organizations to help develop strategic plans. When I moved to Waxhaw, I volunteered to serve on the Downtown Economic Vitality Committee, participated in Waxhaw 101 on the Downtown Advisory Board. We counted cars for parking surveys, planted flowers, learned about historic preservation, met with local business and property owners, and staffed booths at community festivals. 2 years ago, I was asked to help form the Downtown Waxhaw Association as a 501c3 partnership with the town and participate in accreditation of the Main Street program. As a part of this effort, we embarked on the development of the Downtown Master Plan to preserve Waxhaw's small town charm as the growth around us continues. The town approved a professional planning team to complete a detailed process for the master plan. The team we worked with was as good as any as I have ever worked with in my career. For the past year, we've worked to develop the Downtown Master Plan with input from over 500 residents of all ages in focus groups, surveys, and public meetings. We learned that we need to continue to connect the past, the present, and the future of our downtown to preserve its character for our community. All the ideas in the plan came from the residents, business owners, and town leaders, representing the collective vision of Waxhaw's people. The Downtown Master Plan is a roadmap for the next 10+ years on how public-private partnerships can work together to preserve our downtown's unique character. The plan outlines how to strengthen our locally driven small business economy, connect parks and public spaces, walkability, safety, and parking. Having this plan in place provides intentional direction for town leaders, businesses, property owners, and most importantly, our townspeople. Elected officials, administrators, staff, business owners, property owners will come and go. Waxhaw's historic downtown has been around for over 150 years and will continue to be here. The master plan provides a framework to guide decision-making for the next decade. The Board of Commissioners needs to appreciate and respect all of the input and work of the many people who contributed to this plan and approve it now to ensure that Waxhaw preserves its character and quality of life for our community for years to come. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up, we have our consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the amended consent agenda with item 4 removed?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda is now approved. Next up, we have recognitions. We will start with Mr. Orion Holty.
Good evening. I'm here to introduce to you Deandra Scott, our new staff engineer. She started in September. She graduated from the Coastal Carolina University. Deandra was a private sector in land development. She has excellent experience in grading, drainage, utilities, and roadway standards. Deandra has several experience in CAD design, and we are excited to have her already working on a few small parking projects and hopefully have a couple roadway projects, which will have have some parking in it moving forward in the next couple months. We are very happy to have Deandra, and thank you so much for allowing us to have her, and also thank her for accepting the offer. It's great to have her. Would you like to take some?
I just wanted to say thank you. I'm glad to be a part of an amazingly talented and dedicated team and helping Waxhaw grow its community.
Well, thank you and welcome. We look forward to your first presentation project. On a parking lot, possibly, yes. Next up, Miss Melissa.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. I am pleased to introduce you finally to our intern, Jennifer Giordano. She's actually been here for 8 weeks with us and has 2 weeks left in her 10-week internship. She's a senior from NC State University studying parks, recreation, and tourism with a focus on events. So when she started, she hit the ground running. So that's why it's been a little long time coming for her to get up in front of all of you. But I wanted to introduce her to all of you. She's done a really good job. She grew up here in Waxhaw, and so she's been able to be a part of planning and implementing the events that she grew up being a part of and going to. So do you want to say anything, Amanda? Amanda's her actual supervisor, so I don't know if Amanda wanted to say anything.
We've loved having Jennifer on our team. She's been such an asset. She's brought some really new, fresh ideas to the event world, and we're sad that her internship is only 10 weeks, but we're so happy we had her for that 10 weeks.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. I am Jennifer Giordano. I'm the Parks and Rec intern. I am sad to be leaving here soon, but I'm excited to take with me everything that I have learned from this amazing team that is truly the best at what they do. So thank you guys for everything.
And thank you, Jennifer. Next up, we have a presentation by Amanda, Ashley, and Bradley.
I don't have any good jokes.
Where's the hold music when you need it?
I would like to take this time to promote the life of show. All right, ready? So we're here today, Bradley, Ashley, and I, to just kind of go over our big festival that we had about 2 weeks ago, Autumn Treasures, and some of the information that we gained from that festival. So first of all, my name is Amanda. I am the event manager for the town of Waxhaw. My team and I coordinated the Autumn Treasures Festival that we had. Some of the highlights I just want to point out to you. We had 129 vendors come to Autumn Treasures this year, and 70 plus of those were local. So they make their handcrafted items right here in Waxhaw. We had 9 food trucks, games, and kids' entertainment at the downtown park. We had our grill and chill and barbecue competition over in the community corner where we had 4 teams compete, 4 main stage acts, and some roaming entertainment throughout the festival. We had about 15,000 plus attendees come this year on Saturday, and compared to last year, we had 23,000 for the whole weekend, but compared to Saturday last year, that was 13.6 thousand. So during the event, we gave out a survey to attendees that were able to come. And then after the event, we gave the same survey, but with a few unique questions to vendors and downtown businesses. So it's the same survey 3 times. Some of the information we gained from that survey, average ratings ranged from 4.2 to 4.5 for overall experience, likely to attend again, and likely to recommend. We found out that the attendees' top 3 favorite aspects were vendors, live music, and food trucks. And then, was this your first time attending Autumn Treasures? You can see 70% it was not their first time, so they come back year and year again. How did you get to Autumn Treasures? On this slide, it shows majority arrived from personal vehicle. They drove and parked. But you can see the next biggest category is shuttle. They rode our shuttles that were provided. And then followed behind that is walking and other. No one who participated in the survey chose rideshare, so Uber, Lyft, things like that. Some data we got from our shuttle company. Millbridge, which we expected was our largest route. They were able to carry 417 passengers on 39 trips. Waxhaw Elementary was able to carry 270 passengers on 32 trips. And Lawson was able to carry 241 passengers on 42 trips. So almost 1,000 passengers. And one thing I do want to note is with almost 1,000 passengers coming into our downtown footprint, that is hundreds of parking spots we were able to save by them taking a shuttle. At the end of our survey, we had an open response prompt for comments, questions, suggestions. And we saw some common themes that kept popping up over and over again. So the themes listed here were mentioned more than 5 times, so we thought it was just important to show you all. We saw the amount of days in a festival was listed more than 5 times. 42 brought it up that they wanted a 2-day festival. 1 person brought up they wanted a 1-day festival. 13 participants were asking for more or different food options. 5 were wishing for a social district. 16 were wishing for more or different kids' entertainment at the downtown park. And then we had 9 complaints about parking. I do just want to note these results are from all 3 surveys, so attendees, vendors, and businesses all combined. Cost and recovery. So overall, this festival, cutting it down to 1 day, cost around $70,000. We were able to recover $18,781 of those dollars through vendor fees and through barbecue ticket sales. I have on the right side of the screen what our one-day vendor fee schedule looks like. So to come as a vendor on Main Street for one day, it was $85. To come as a food truck for that one day, it was $150. A commercial business was $300, and a nonprofit was $60. I also put a copy of the survey results at your seat in front of you, and these are also posted on our website under Autumn Treasures in case anyone at home wants to see the survey results as well.
Good evening, Board. I'm Bradley Lucourt, your Public Information Officer and Communications Manager for the town of Waxhaw. I want to talk a little bit about our marketing efforts for this event. Our strategy had a three-pronged approach. The first prong was the multi-channel approach. That's using a diverse mix of communication tools to reach residents where they are, meaning we did more than just Facebook. The second prong was a phased drip campaign. That means a series of pre-planned messages sent over time to maintain visibility. We basically started 1 month out and started increasing our flow of information as we got closer to the event. And then number 3 was targeted delivery. Key messages were timed to reach our audiences when information was most relevant to them. Before the event, we had 64 social media posts across all Town of Waxhaw-owned social media accounts. That would be the Town of Waxhaw, Parks and Rec, and PD. We also had our dedicated webpage, waxhaw.com/autumntreasures. We had our homepage spotlight 1 week before the event. We also issued a special edition of our Waxhaw Happenings newsletter. We did an app push on our Waxhaw Connect app, emphasizing parking and shuttles. And we also activated the alert bar on our website Friday and Saturday. So anytime someone went to the website looking for information about Autumn Treasures, they did not have to search for it. Here's some results from our social media campaign. We had more than 368,000 views on all of our content. That's the number of times our content was actively played or displayed on a screen. We had over 225,000 reach. That's the number of unique accounts that saw our posts. We had over 260,000 impressions. Impressions are the total number of times a piece of content was displayed on a user's screen, and that can include multiple views from the same user. And we had over 16,000 link clicks, basically bringing people back to content that we own, since we don't own the platform Facebook or Twitter, LinkedIn, or anything like that. Here's a comparison to our marketing efforts for Autumn Treasures last year on social media. The orange bar is this year. The blue bar is last year. As you can see, we are up over 300% in results and views and reach. And we really only had about 11 more posts than last year. So our strategy worked. Our highest performing post was the announcement about the 2025 vendors. This one had over 116,000 views, which was excellent and very surprising. We had 89% non-followers. So that means, we have about 20,000 followers on our Facebook page. And 89% of who saw this, so 100,000, give or take, were non-followers. That's increased exposure for the town of Waxhaw on Facebook. And that just means we're getting our name and our event out there to people who otherwise would not have seen it. So this is a very good metric to show. On our dedicated webpage, we had, in the week leading up to the event, about 5,500 page views. That's up 48% from last year. And you can see the highest traffic was on Saturday itself, 2,100 views. That means people were using the page and they were receiving the critical information they needed about this event on the day of. Our special edition newsletter went to our regular Waxhaw Happenings email list. We had a 45% open rate, which is, by industry standard, very good. Anything between 20 and 50% is a pretty good open rate. And then our click-through rate was 2.92%. And that just means that out of the people who did open it, 2.92% clicked on a link in the email, once again bringing them back to our content. And then we have our traffic signs that were placed at key points along the way into downtown along 75, both sides. We also have them at NC 16 Pine Oak and Waxhaw Marvin and Kensington Roads. If you see them now, they say Pine Oak Road closed. But a week before this event, it said Autumn Treasures was going to be downtown. And I'll note that these traffic signs have about a 46,000 daily audience. That means about 46,000 cars pass by them each day, all combined. These are used for safety and letting people know there's going to be increased vehicle and pedestrian traffic downtown. But if they happen to see that Autumn Treasures is downtown and they want to attend because they saw the sign, well, that's just an added benefit. Parks and Rec staff also installed banners outside of Nesbitt Park, Police Department, Town Campus, Atrium Hospital, and the downtown park. These were physical signs that they installed in the ground, I think about a week before the event. So they got all of that foot traffic and they got increased daily traffic as well. So our key takeaways. Number one, we exceeded our historical performance across all channels. Number two, our multi-channel phase targeted strategy clearly worked. And number three, this demonstrates the power of coordinated communications and driving attendance and engagement. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ashley.
Okay, so I will talk about what we heard from our downtown businesses. As a reminder, our role as the business development department in these Parks and Rec planned events is really to help inform our businesses about what is going on, what streets are going to be closed, and how they can participate in the event. So typically we survey our businesses on a quarterly basis, but this last quarter we really wanted to focus on the Autumn Treasures Festival. Our businesses get surveyed out often, so we really focused on getting that feedback on this event from them. We received 12 responses on the survey. We have about 40 retail or restaurant businesses that are within the footprint. So we think this is a really good response from those businesses that would be affected by the event. Our key feedback and takeaways that we get from the businesses is that our festivals and events downtown bring a lot of energy and visibility to our businesses. We tell them as our business development department, we remind them that these are often PR days. They're not necessarily going to be increased sales, but it's a great day to get a lot of eyeballs on your business. Some of our businesses did report some higher traffic and sales that day. We always get with these festivals concerns over parking and road closures affecting access. And a lot of that concern depends on where they are downtown. Our North Main Street businesses may see an increase in foot traffic, but they're going to have a complaint about parking. Whereas our South Main businesses may not see an increase in foot traffic, but have more parking available. The one-day format feedback was mixed from our businesses. We got a lot of mixed feedback, whether on the survey or in person, as to whether they liked the one-day versus a two-day format. We had some businesses who exceeded their sales from the year prior on Saturday, but then Sunday was a little down. So it's truly a toss-up on what their sales were compared over the 2 days. So based on the feedback and conversations that we've had with our businesses, expanding that footprint to better include the South Main businesses could be an option, as well as revisiting that two-day format. And I'm sure the three of us are happy to answer any questions or have any discussion that you guys would want to have.
Yeah, I just had a couple questions came to mind. Did we do a survey of how many people parked at that Blythe Mill parking lot? It looked like it was pretty full.
We did not. I know 200 cars fit in that parking lot.
Okay.
It wasn't a part of our shuttle route, so it didn't get included in those numbers. But I know if it was at capacity, 200 vehicles is its capacity.
Okay. That's it, yeah.
And is there any way to tell of the attendees, which of those attendees lived in Waxhaw that gave their opinion?
Yes, I don't have that number off the top of my head, but that's something we can look into and get back to you on.
Also, the totals there of people who said 2 days or 1 day. Was there a total for those who didn't really feel like it was worth, asking for 1 or 2 days?
So, if I'm understanding you correctly, that where people said 1 or 2 days was in the open-ended, so we just gave them a blank box and said, write any feedback you have in there. If you go through some of your survey results in front of you, there's a lot of people that didn't mention 1 or 2 days.
Right.
They mentioned other things like food trucks or kids entertainment, because we did have on, like, just for participants that took it, we had 131 attendees take it, and only 40 something of those said 2 days. So not everybody mentioned that in their feedback.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
Did you get much feedback, or was there a question around whether or not to consolidate it to just downtown instead of the split park and downtown?
So that with the park?
So I've gotten some feedback saying that there's a lot of folks that seem like they would prefer it be in one place.
Yeah, so that actually was a survey question.
Okay.
We asked some events and activities such as children's programming are located in the downtown park, separate from the main event area. How do you feel about this setup? Majority said they don't have a strong preference. Second runner-up was, I like having the kids' activities in a separate space. But it was a very tight line. They were pretty
split.
much all the same, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll note too that mirrors what our downtown businesses say. We have a lot of kid-friendly businesses who like having the kids' activities in downtown, but then we have some businesses that aren't as kid-friendly that may have some breakable objects, and they really enjoy when the kids' activities are in the park.
Yeah, I think the feedback I was hearing was it wasn't so much for the kids that could walk, that were in strollers, but although those people had some difficulty getting over the tracks and that sort of thing, but it was in order for the parents to enjoy it and then say, okay, I'm just gonna do this, and then we'll go to this area. They had to get, to use a New York word, schlep to the downtown park, and that was a little difficult, or the kids were cranky by that time. So either way, if they went to the kids area first, then the parents didn't get to participate because the kids wanted to go home, they were done. So maybe something in close proximity. I think in years past, it was by the water tank in the community corner there. There, maybe and something maybe for like a petting zoo, something that was interactive, but I don't know what the logistics of a petting zoo.
Lots of insurance. There was a shuttle that was running from the West North Main footprint to downtown park. I'm not sure how many people knew that, and that can be something we definitely work on with our messaging to the public next year in our A-frames and signage and things like that.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
So I think in the past years, there's been more entries in the barbecue competition. And now this year we only had 4. Is that because it wasn't 2 days, or what was the reasoning for that?
So our barbecue competition has always been 1 day only. In the barbecue grillers, it technically is 2 days because they get there at 9 a.m. on Friday to start grilling. But for the public, it's only 1 day, and we had 6, but at the very last second, 2 pulled out. So, and we're also we used to work with Kansas City Barbecue in an accredited barbecue competition, but with budget, that just wasn't feasible anymore. So now that we're having more of a backyard barbecue competition, we do have less vendors. Last year we had 5, and this year we were on track to have 6 until 2 pulled a couple days before.
Okay. And then one thing that, just some questions I heard people asking when I was working at the tent, was wondering how much we actually did save by having it 1 day, because it appeared that there was so much work put into putting on the event that questioning whether or not we really saved money by just having the 1 day.
Yeah, so I have that number.
Just the raw numbers from what you gave us, it was about $41,000, and I don't think factors in overtime for everyone on a Sunday?
No, this isn't factoring in any overtime or staff work, but I know at budget season, we were asking for over $100,000 for Autumn Treasures because we were going to plan or expand the kids zone a little bit. But with us scaling it down, last year we spent $95,000 on Autumn Treasures, and this year we spent $68,000, so 20 something. That's without, that overtime's not included in that. That's just raw logistics.
And there would typically be overtime pay on Saturday as well, would there not?
Yes.
Yeah.
But Sunday as well.
And then Sunday, well, exactly. My point being is there's 2 days of overtime there, so that's, times 2.
Sunday in the past has been a shorter day. It's only 12 to 6, but yeah, it still does include overtime on Sunday. Any other questions?
Great. Well, thank you very much for taking the time and the effort to do that. I think it's very helpful for the board in general just to get that information as we make decisions for next year.
Awesome, thank you. If there's any other information you think of or need, just send us an email and we're happy to help.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
All righty. Next up, Mr. James Kelly.
Good evening. So James Kelly, Traffic and Transportation Engineer. We are bringing this item forward to you. This is the Red Oaks Trail parking regulation discussion. The action requested tonight is for the board to provide feedback and to provide staff with direction so that way we can bring this item to a close moving forward. Just to provide some quick background of where we are currently, where we were and where we are currently. So back at the June 10th BOC meeting of this year, this is when staff received multiple reports of concerns from residents about the parking situation along Red Oaks Trail near the commercial area, specifically adjacent to the NC-16 intersection. At that time, the board unanimously directed staff to investigate the parking restrictions on Red Oaks Trail and then bring that information back to you. So that's what staff did at the July 8th meeting, where staff presented a first reading of a proposed ordinance amending the parking regulations along Red Oaks Trail with a concept to prohibit parking on a portion of Red Oaks Trail measured 1,000 feet west of the NC-16 and Red Oaks intersection. So after deliberation, the board unanimously deferred action and directed staff to facilitate discussions between residents and business owners to work toward a neutral solution that conformed with our standards and policies. So that is what we're bringing to you tonight. Before we get there, I'm just going to recap some more. So this was that original 1,000 feet alternative that we showed back at one of your previous board meetings. While this solution was not ideal, this solution definitely aided in elevating discussions with residents and business owners to create a more optimal outcome. And that really was the intent of this alternative, was to spark some discussion and to get some better alternatives. So after discussing the item with the business owners, these were our primary outcomes of that meeting. These are our notes from that meeting. So the business owners, they informed staff that they prefer to maximize or keep as much on-street parking as possible. And this is one of the two biggest differences between the business owners and the residents, is that you'll see that they're really there's a lot that they agree with, surprisingly, but this item in particular is something that they're on a polar end of the spectrum for, whereas the business owners prefer to maximize the parking and the residents prefer to minimize the parking. So that was one of our challenges as we worked through these solutions, was finding some type of middle ground to accommodate that. The business owners also noted that they prefer the flexibility to use both sides of the street for extra parking during special events or as their business activity grows. And they also noted that they will help to provide residents and folks nearby with advance notice before those special events. The business owners noted that they usually have about 2 to 3 special events every year where they have a lot of people that show up. For example, I believe the salon noted that sometimes for wedding venues, folks show up for the wedding venues for the brides to get their hair done, along with a lot of other people. So that was one of the examples that they provided. Business owners also noted a concern about employee safety when crossing the street at night, especially with darker uniforms, considering that the dentistry folks, those uniforms typically are black or darker blue. So that was a concern, especially during nighttime hours. Furthermore, business staff and customers noted that they have felt uncomfortable after receiving messages left on vehicles about parking from residents. We later discussed this once we met with the residents, and essentially that has to come to a stop. And then the main thing that business owners really wanted was they really wanted their concerns and their perspectives to be heard. So after discussing this with the business owners, and I'll note that any sketches provided this evening are really just for review purposes only at this time until we move toward a construction-ready plan for you all. So this was the sketch that the business owners, after we talked with them, discussed and said, yes, this is a great sketch. It maximizes our parking. This is what we're looking for and provides for some pedestrian crossings. We later presented this sketch to the business owners or to the residents, excuse me, and in your agenda packets this evening is a summary of the responses from the residents, particular to this version 2 sketch. Essentially, the residents did not find this sketch to meet their needs. So then we went to discuss this issue with the residents to learn some more information, gather some more information on, okay, what is your better fit for your needs? And like I said before, the residents prefer to minimize or to eliminate on-street parking in front of the businesses, noted concerns about limited sight distance when cars park on the north side of the street. Residents also noted some safety concerns with poor lighting and lack of designated crosswalks, so you'll see some similarities there between the residents and the business owners. Residents also had some concerns about larger vehicles, for example, school buses, fire trucks, delivery trucks, having difficulty turning into the neighborhood, especially when cars park too close to the NC-16 intersection. And then also residents noted narrow parking widths can cause some vehicles to overhang the sidewalk, which they've seen. I think that's due to the lack of delineation that's out there, the pavement marking delineation, is folks don't really know how to gauge that without parking up onto the sidewalk, and that's causing some concerns. Furthermore, residents noted that they don't like the additional traffic and U-turns deeper into the neighborhood. That was another concern that they had. So after discussing this with residents, we provided a sketch, and we said, okay, residents, is this what you're looking for? Is this what you're seeing? Have we captured your needs and wants accurately? And a lot of them said, yes, this is what we're looking for. So this alternative included no parking on the north side of the street, the additional crosswalks and crossings further down, the mid-block crosswalks, that sort of thing. So I'll lead into where we're going with this is really, the two sides between the residents and the business owners, they have polar opposite sides on a lot of the topics and similarities on others. So, but we shared this back to the business owners and we said, okay, so what do you think about this concept? And the business owner said, nope, we don't like it. We're going to provide you with another proposed version 4, which is what we're sharing tonight, which was requested for us to share this evening. We've later had conversations with the business owners stating that this concept simply does not meet the warrants. So what I mean by that in particular is, as a part of our discussion with the residents, the town conducted a speed study to determine how many vehicles were ingressing and egressing through this area. And as a part of that study, it also included looking at speed warrants and that sort of things per our traffic calming policy. So the main reason why this version does not meet the warrants in accordance with our traffic calming policy and therefore is not recommended is because of that speed hump there in the middle of the diagram. So per our traffic calming policy, we look at the posted speed versus what's called the 85th percentile speed. So the posted, and we don't approve any speed humps or any traffic calming measures that are not warranted, AKA just not over 7 miles per hour greater than the speed limit. So in this particular case, the posted speed limit was 20 miles per hour. The 85th percentile was 25 miles per hour. So the difference there was only 5 miles per hour. And in accordance with our traffic calming policy, you have to be at least 7 or more miles per hour to warrant these traffic calming devices such as speed humps. So that's the main kicker there. I'll just dive into some regulation and guidance review that we've also conducted. So after meeting with the business owners After meeting with the residents, staff then looked to determine, okay, what can we actually do? Here's the wants of the residents and the business owners. Let's look at our standards, let's look at our guidance to see what we can implement and what we cannot implement. And there was a lot of questions from both sides as far as, does the town really have the authority to regulate this? Short answer is yes. So the town has the authority conferred by general statute within these various statutes, such as delegation and exercise of general police power, enforcement of ordinances, streets, traffic, parking, on-street and off-street parking. So that is all regulated through that. And then also staff looked into the Waxhaw Code of Ordinances, Chapter 66 in particular, for our parking regulations, and in Section 66-19 in particular, it outlines the spacing requirements from intersections and local jurisdiction determinations and that sort of thing. So we also looked at, since our adopted safety action plan, we've been looking at the Federal Highway Proven Safety Countermeasures, and a lot of those safety countermeasures go back to this concept of redundancy, and we'll dive into that here momentarily. Also, when you're looking at mid-block crosswalks, and mid-block crosswalks are just crosswalks that are not at an intersection, we referred to NCDOT Traffic Engineering and the Safety Systems Branch to see what their guidelines were, because we really didn't have strong language on that. So we looked at some other agencies, and their language says that on-street parking spaces should be eliminated adjacent to each mid-block crosswalk to allow for adequate visibility for motorists approaching and or departing a crosswalk. And then that parking removal should include no less than 50 feet on each approach lane to the mid-block crosswalk and no less than 25 feet on each exiting lane leaving the mid-block crosswalk. So that brings us to our version 5, which I'm really naming version 2.5, which is a compromise between what the business owners want, version 2, and what the residents want, which is version 3. Just basically cutting it down the middle, taking what we can implement and what we can't implement, and looking at that. So with this solution, just looking left to right here, you'll see that that is a mid-block crosswalk there. So that we're incorporating that advanced no parking area there before and after the crosswalk to make sure that the visibility concerns are addressed with any new crosswalks. We're also proposing a solar-powered street light. The reason why is simply cost. The street lights typically through Duke Energy, they can cost you around $1,800 plus a $22.50 per month in perpetuity fee, whereas these solar-powered street lights only cost around $550. So in this case, they could work. And then we also went back to seeing what the business owners wanted. They specifically noted 5 to 7 spots. They wanted preferred parking options on both the north and the south side. So we're providing 11 spots. So we're providing more than what was asked for. We're also meeting the needs of providing parking spacing availability on both the north and the south side of the roadway, while minimizing the areas per the residents' request in those areas of sight distance. So you'll see between the driveway, that's per section 66-19 of our Code of Ordinance. That's 25 feet in both directions of the driveway, no parking there to eliminate some sight distance concerns, as well as some distance between the crosswalk at 16 and Red Oaks there. So this is really our recommended solution. And this solution does conform with the regulations, standards, and guidance that we have. Provides additional spacing for those school buses, those fire trucks, and larger delivery vehicles. I'll just go back to the main entrance there at 16. You can see that we've accommodated for 50 feet as measured from the stop bar there, so that way those larger vehicles, when entering, they don't have conflicts with people parking close to the intersection. In addition, we are accommodating for a resident parking by permit only. So this is part of a permit program that would be implemented, similar to what we've already applied for areas in the downtown area and the Hillcrest area. Similar type permit program which local municipalities are allowed to do. Furthermore, we're supplying that total 11 on-street parking spaces on both sides of the roadway. We're minimizing the on-street parking on the north side of the roadway and improving sight distance and line of sight. And back to those FHWA proven safety countermeasures, we're improving crosswalk visibility by providing those lighting enhancements, adding some more crosswalks where they're really needed, enhancing the pavement delineation, and adding layers of redundancy to promote these safer pedestrian crossings. Furthermore, we're delineating the parking and non-parking areas, which minimizes the risk of drivers parking too far into the roadway or overhanging into the sidewalk. I will just comment, this is a neutral solution, so this is what we were tasked to do, was to really gather the information from the residents and the business owners and then come back to you all with a neutral solution. And we've stressed from the beginning that staff has indicated numerous times to both the residents and the business owners that we won't be able to fully satisfy everyone in this final proposed solution. This really is a middle ground solution. And then bring this back to you all to make a determination. But really, this solution does address key concerns from both the business owners and residents while providing for an actionable, cost-effective plan. So with that, I'll open it back to you guys for feedback. But there's multiple options that you can go here with. You can decide to go with the recommended solution. You can decide to go with something else. You could decide to continue discussion, defer, as you guys have previously done, or simply just decide no action. But we are looking for some direction, and if action is selected, then staff will revise your previously first reading ordinance of 2025-012 and present that back to you all as a second reading at your next meeting for adoption. Happy to take any questions.
Mayor?
One question I had, could you go back to the drawing that you had of version 2.5? Is there a reason there isn't a parking spot adjacent to parking spot 9?
Adjacent to parking spot 9. I think that's just
so it's 50 feet from the crosswalk there?
Yeah, that's just 50 feet. So that goes back to that traffic and safety branch approach with the North Carolina DOT.
Yeah.
And that is a mid-block crosswalk. So adjacent to, do you mean by on the left side or the right side of number 9?
It'd be on the left side as I'm looking at it, so on
Yep.
the western side of that spot.
Yep, so that goes back to that mid-block crosswalk. So you really don't want folks parking in that area, because if there's a pedestrian trying to cross, especially from the north side going south, that's just going to block the sight distance there.
Yeah, well, the other side was 25 feet, so I'm just curious why that side couldn't be 25 feet as well.
I think it's just because, well, they're
wasn't
flipped.
enough.
It depends upon the direction of travel.
Yeah.
So on the northern part of the roadway, folks are going west, and southern part of the roadway, they're going east. So
No,
just
that
the
makes sense.
approach there. Yep.
Thank you.
So what if you took out that mid-block crosswalk? Why do you need that there?
That was expressed from the residents because numbers 1 through 8, when vehicles park there, they sometimes go up and over that curb there, which blocks the sidewalk, and they don't have adequate spacing. So instead of going fully up to the crosswalk at 16, they would prefer to have that crosswalk there at that mid-block, so that way they can safely cross there, because on the other side of the roadway, there's actually a planting strip between the sidewalk and the curb, which provides more spacing. So it's really just, I know one resident in particular was talking about strollers as they walk their, they use strollers to walk their child through there. But they had issues with cars over parking, and that sidewalk on the southern side is narrow to begin with. So if cars do overpark, it will actually block the sidewalk in some cases. So instead, just to have that extra layer of redundancy, have that mid-block crosswalk there so folks can cross south to north, and then be able to not have those conflicts since that planting strip is on that northern side of the roadway.
You mentioned in some of the earlier versions, resident-focused or business-focused, that you got some good feedback. And this version 5 does seem like a good compromise. Did you get feedback on this one yet, or?
We have not received feedback on this yet, so that was one thing I was going to ask you all is, would you like for staff to go back and present this to the business owners and the residents for feedback, or would you like to just go ahead and proceed? Because this alternative really fits all of our requirements and all of our standards. It's just a matter of, it's up to your discretion.
So, and you might not know the answer to this, but when this was built, was there a parking reduction? Do you know?
I believe there was.
Do you know how many spaces that was?
I don't have those details.
I know that was a trick question.
The only thing that I know is that there was a parking reduction granted at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess my concern would be that when the residents came to speak, they had said that their concern was cars parked on both sides of the street. And so that's what I'm seeing here. So is there going to be an issue with I know you're leaving space from the corner and the crosswalk from 16 for buses, because I think that's kind of what's been happening, right? Buses and then people trying to get out and the increased traffic, and now the crosswalk is there that wasn't there before. So now you're dealing with a lot of,
Yeah, so it sounds like your question is more so, is there going to be an adequate width to accommodate for those vehicles parking on both sides of the street? Short answer is yes. So our minimum standard is referenced within this diagram. Our minimum standard is really a total of 8 feet, and that includes curb and gutter. So with those, with this section, you're really looking at a 33-foot asphalt to asphalt section, and you have another 1.5 feet and a 1.5 feet on both sides. So really total width, you're looking at 36 feet. You are able to accommodate for that for that minimum standard. And one other thing is that I think a lot of the issue right now is that there's no pavement markings out there today, which is why, you get some folks to overpark and that sort of thing. I think once you have that extra delineation, that'll help to remedy some of that issue.
and then beyond this point, because on the side of the street where there's the 8 spots there, there is, the street continues, and I think it's wooded still on that same side of the street. What happens there? Are there no parking signs there at this point, or resident parking only, or?
So just to clarify, moving further west, like going further into the neighborhood, it just goes back to that permit program where that's limited to resident parking by permit.
Sorry, another question, sorry. Who gets the permits?
So
Anyone, do they have to register? How does
It's
that
going to be a similar program to what our Parks and Rec does, so I will work more with them to get those details from a high level, though. And to answer the question, it's a free program. So essentially, the residents petition the town to request this permit, and we validate the residency of those people that are requesting that. And usually, you'll get about 2 or 3 passes that people can put in their cars, similar to what's done in the downtown Hillcrest area today.
Okay.
Is there anything preventing, since we've got a nice sidewalk on the north side of the street, is there anything preventing the complete removal of the sidewalk on the south side to just widen that whole parking spot altogether? If we put a crosswalk there, and you can even go as far as putting a control light, but I don't know if that's warranted. But since it's wooded, it's narrowed, it's undeveloped on that side, can we just go ahead and basically make all that parking width instead of having a sidewalk there at all?
Short answer, I don't see any issues with it. It's just a matter of cost. So how much cost is that going to add, and is the board willing to incur that cost? Right now, the solution is pretty cost effective as is. If we start to remove sidewalk and that sort of thing, it becomes more encumbersome.
So, I'm sorry. I just have, the history of this project goes back a number of years. Now, when it was originally approved and built, do you know about the changes that were made at that time based upon the project itself?
Short answer, no. I was not here at that time.
Well, the building setback the way that it is because based upon the ordinance at the time, they could not put parking. They wanted to have an entrance from Providence and then the side entrance where it is now on Red Oaks Trail. So with the inability for them to have that entrance from Providence, and also the inability for them to put parking in the front, they had to move the building to set back to where it is sitting right now for, is that the hair salon? The hair salon. For that building, which prohibited them from having additional parking at the front side, which is now why there's an overflow of parking that they are doing in the street. So they did lose parking and the inability to park there, and they had to move the building back for the other building, so there was a loss of parking in that, and that was a question that you had.
So again, your questions for the board is, do we want to vote on this evening? Oh, sorry, didn't realize.
No, it's okay. It's all right. Just jump in last minute here. James, I did do quite a bit of research on this. I appreciate all of the standards and policies that you posted. It's taken me a bit to get through those, but I think I was successful. Based on the discussions and the engineering clarifications that we've received, I'd like to propose a revised version of version 5 that corrects some misapplied standards and provides more balanced long-term layout. And there's just 4 of them, so bear with me. And I'll provide this to you after, so you've got the full picture of what it is. So first, the 50-foot setback currently being applied to the NC-16 intersection is based on mid-block crosswalk guidance, not intersection guidance. For a stop-controlled intersection, the applicable standard is a 20-foot corner clearance, which is the FHWA MUTCD that you supplied me with. Therefore, I propose adjusting that distance from 50 feet to 30 in order to accommodate 1 additional spot. Second, the justification for version 4 failing warrants was tied exclusively to the speed hump evaluation under the traffic calming policy, not the parking configuration itself. Since the parking portion never independently was disqualified by any standard, and the speed hump is now being proposed to be removed, there's no policy barrier restoring the north side of that parking layout. So the third piece is the mid-block crosswalk was only included previously as an attempt for additional speed calming configuration, as you've stated earlier. If the crosswalk is not added, as we're suggesting, this also removes the need for the 50-25 parking removal zone associated with the mid-block crossings, which allows for three additional spots on the north side closer to the businesses that actually generate the traffic. Fourth, the south side can be left as is for now, understanding that it will be reconfigured when Ruby on Providence is developed. That development will provide a second access option and a controlled light, creating a natural future reevaluation point. So those are my feedback points for that, based on all of the guidance and nighttime reading that you provided me.
No problem.
So
no problem.
I now know more about traffic engineering than I ever thought I would. So with that, I think I'm going to drop something else here. I'm going to make a motion that we adopt a modified version of version 5 under ordinance ORD 2025-012 that, number 1, reduces the no parking setback at the NC-16 Red Oaks Trail intersection from 50 feet to 30 feet, consistent with the FHWA and MUTCD intersection guidance for stop-controlled intersections. Number 2, removes the need for a mid-block crosswalk and associated 50-25-foot visibility buffer, thereby providing a total of 7 on-street parking stalls on the north side of Red Oaks Trail. And 3, retains south side parking temporarily with the understanding that the south side will be reevaluated when the Ruby on Providence commercial development comes forward.
Personally, I'd like to see a sketch of that, number 1. Number 2, well, you might as well not do any of this work and just let people park wherever they are, and we'll just save the money, because what you're doing is exactly what the concerns of the residents in that area are complaining about. And we'll be back to share their concerns. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be responsible for an accident happening coming out of that Red Oaks Trail. And I'm on the record that I'm not comfortable with that.
I also wonder how future-proof it is to reduce the 50 feet to 30 feet when the NC-16 widening is coming through there.
These are great discussions. So I think what we need to do is we need to look back.
Well, James, there's a motion on the table.
Oh, yep.
Mr. Mayor, there's a motion on the table.
Well, the question is are we comfortable voting on this motion? Does everybody feel clear on the 4 conditions with which you laid out? I think it sounds perfectly reasonable to me to request a sketch of those 4 points to make sure we're all clear and we understand what is meant by them.
Well, if they're not clear or don't want to vote for it, then they don't have to vote for it.
Well, the request is to, the request basically is to.
There's a motion on the table, Mr. Mayor.
The request is to withdraw the motion so we can take time to get clarity on what is being changed from what is being presented. So in other words, can we take the time to get a sketch so we can look at this and better understand what we're talking about?
James, can I ask you one question? Have you compared this road to Kingston on Providence, which is right down the road from it? In that neighborhood, the houses come almost all the way up to Providence, which is basically the same as this commercial business. And cars are parking in front of those houses all the time. I know that because my parents live in that neighborhood. Every time I go there, I'm turning in, and there's cars parked on both sides in the same places, basically, that they would be on Red Oak Trail. So has there been any comparison with that?
There has. We actually found a site that was really more comparable to what this is, which is commercial up front and residential in the back. Kingston is all residential, and we did look at some DOT requirements. So the development that we did look at that was more comparable to this was the Prescott Glen Parkway development, where you have that commercial up front and residential in the back. And traditionally, from an engineering standpoint, there's also this concept known as the 100-foot internal protected stem. And that's usually when you deal with connections to NC routes, as NCDOT is very protective of maintaining to make sure that there's no parking within 100 feet from the intersections of their roadway. Now, that is adjustable, and given that this is an older development, that's more reasonable to work through, which is why we recommended the 50 feet versus the full 100.
Any other questions or comments about the amendment or the
I'd just like to
motion?
say I don't understand what the rush is. James has been working on this diligently. You've just proposed something new, and we have another meeting in 2 weeks. I think it's perfectly reasonable to delay this, get a sketch, and see how this looks. Because last time I checked, I don't think on your resume you were a traffic engineer. So I'm just wondering if we could just take a beat and consider the residents' safety and their concerns, just for 5 minutes.
And some people are more visual than others. I mean, you can rattle off all these changes. Doesn't mean everyone's picturing it in their head.
We're picturing it the same.
There's a motion on the table, and I'm not withdrawing it.
Very well then. Please, go ahead.
Could you please restate the motion for one moment, please? Just restate it.
You had 4 changes to version 5.
No, just restate it.
I'll restate the motion. Restating the motion, I move that we adopt a modified version of version 5 under ORD 2025-012 that, number 1, reduces the no parking setback at the NC16 Red Oaks Trail intersection from 50 feet to 30 feet, consistent with the FHWA MUTCD intersection guidance for stop-controlled intersections. Number 2, removes the need for a mid-block crosswalk and associated stalls on the north side of Red Oaks Trail. And 3, retains south side parking temporarily with the understanding that the south side will be reevaluated when the Ruby on Providence commercial development comes forward.
So the south side 8 slots then could potentially go away based upon the new development, and then the only parking would then be on the north side.
Correct.
I'd also like to remind the board that there is no new development proposed. There's no application. That could be 15 years from now. So there's that. I mean, if you insist on putting this motion forward, then James, I would just, it's not going to happen overnight, right?
Well, so it sounds like to me that the motion is just to bring back a modified version with those requirements. I will note that We are not comfortable with the 50 to 30 feet. That is based upon FHWA, not a standard, it's guidance. What we're referencing is precedent that has already been set with another ordinance that the board has approved for another NC-16 route. That was ordinance 2025-008. So that's something that we're referencing to make sure that we maintain consistency, and with the intersection there being an NC-16 route, that's why we're recommending still to go with 50 feet, and that preserves an internal protected stem, which DOT has come down from 100 feet to 50 feet before. But that's really up to your decision. As far as the mid-block crosswalk, it really is a safety issue there as far as people crossing, and we do want to add that layer of extra redundancy to get that. But we're more than happy to bring back a sketch to you all showing what it would look like, although I don't believe we would support recommending that.
Any other adjustments or comments?
I know that you're, and I'm just bringing this back up again, but I know you're comparing this to Prescott Village, but to me, visually, it's more similar to Kingston. So if there's no 50-foot buffer on Kingston, why are we requiring that on a road that's right down the road?
Right. It's a great question. It really depends upon when those developments were approved. And in this case, we're essentially modernizing the Red Oaks Trail section. So with a modernization aspect to it, we have to go by the new standards. Those developments were likely approved under old, outdated standards.
So we're updating to a safer standard with the 50 feet?
We are.
Yeah. Anything else?
And those new standards that you are talking about, the guidelines started when?
They were adopted, let's see, MUTCD was written, I'll have to confirm this date, but I want to say at least 2010 is when those were written. And then, of course, they're continuously updated on an annual basis.
Mm-hmm. So I would say, out of the abundance of caution, we should be very careful what we approve tonight. And if you insist on pushing this motion through, then I would suggest in a month or so, we'll just change it.
Well, the motion does not preclude you from coming back with any sketch that you would like to come back with or anything else that you would like to add. And he's saying yes,
Yeah.
does not.
So I'm more concerned about the crosswalk, to be honest. I would prefer to see more parking on the side of the street where the businesses are. I think it's safer to allow more parking on that side than to require people to cross the street. So by doing what Commissioner Hall's recommending is adding, 3 more spaces on that side? Is that what?
Yeah, total 7, 3 here, 4 here.
Yeah, to me, that seems like the safer option.
I'll just note that if we do remove, or if we do add those additional parking spaces on the north side, in essence, we'll have to eliminate the mid-block crosswalk all entirely to do that. So then folks will still be redirected up along the southern side, which there's already noted concerns of driver overhang, and maybe that will resolve itself with the added delineation. This may be a multi-layered approach as far as we take a baby step here, baby step there to determine what's working and what is not working.
Any adjustments or changes to the motion?
Well, as a point of order, doesn't it take a 2/3 majority to force a vote on something that hasn't been discussed in the previous meeting?
This is technically
according to our
item.
rules of procedure.
No.
Barbie? Do we have any feedback on that comment?
the original ordinance that you looked at back in, I believe it was June 10th, was brought forth. It does not relate any of that. So this would be a brand-new motion, which is why it's a new business,
correct?
Yeah, you're amending an ordinance, so you've got this on an ordinance. So
Yeah.
the ordinance that you reviewed before was a ordinance of first reading, which was the introduction of that ordinance. So I would recommend, and maybe some advice from the attorney, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you would need to address what's on that ordinance, and I would recommend not making another motion to revise that until you've determined what you want to do with the ordinance that you previously looked at a previous meeting that is still in a first reading. And it does take a 2/3 vote, according to your rules of procedure, for an introduction of the ordinance.
So because this item does not contain a motion for a vote.
This was
would require
for
2/3.
feedback.
Correct.
Yes, so there was no constructed motion, which does not negate that Commissioner Hall can make this motion, but he's making it a motion for an ordinance that is still in the first reading.
So it's
And it's not back on this, it's not on this agenda tonight.
So you can make the motion, but you'll need 4 votes.
Is that correct as we understand the procedures then, Barbie? Matt?
From what I've understood in terms of the history of what was previously presented and what is being presented and asked to be voted on now, I would agree. I don't think that vote can occur tonight unless there is a 2/3 vote.
And that is in your rules of procedure under Part 7. Is Rule 28, introduction of your ordinance.
So do we need a motion for the introduction of this ordinance before we can actually vote on it then? Or should we just vote on the motion as is, understanding it requires a 3/4 vote? Or 2/3, whatever it may be?
The ordinance itself is not on the agenda. You would need to suspend your rules of order and add it to the agenda for you to look at, which we do not have a copy of that in front of you to review that. And and suspending the order, the rules would require a 2/3 vote to do that. So I would recommend that you continue your discussions and provide feedback and let staff come back with something for the meeting on November the 10th. That would be my recommendation.
So if...
Go ahead.
So if Commissioner Hall then withdraws his motion and makes the request for the ordinances that he has stated to be reviewed and to be placed on the agenda for November 10th, with a sketch included of the actual diagram and information, then with that new information, then you can proceed to then hear what is going on and make a motion or decision, if one is to be made at that time, based upon that information that's now part of the agenda.
That is correct. It would be in the second reading at that point.
Correct, and that would be as I would understand it as well. So I guess the question then becomes, do we need to vote on this motion, or can we just consider this motion null and void?
You would have to withdraw your motion, and then you would have to ask that the information and the ordinances that you have stated be included for the November 10th meeting, that a sketch then be provided by engineering and planning staff, and then, I don't know what else is in that motion. but
then we can vote on it
whatever
then, yeah.
information you
Well,
stated.
basically, the expectation is that the sketch would incorporate the 3 changes
With
that
the
Commissioner
revised
Hall
version.
suggested.
With the revised version that he has requested.
Exactly.
Now, Commissioner Hall, you could amend that motion that you just made and just ask staff to bring back that information with all the points added to that ordinance ORD 2025-012, and we can put that motion on the agenda for that meeting on November the 10th. That way, you're just amending it and not actually withdrawing it.
Okay.
I knew if I was ever going to get stuck, it would be by a technicality. And you got me. So, okay. So what I'll do is I'll amend it, okay, so that the motion instead is to move that we include at the November 10th meeting a modified version of version 5 of ORD 2025-012 that, number 1, reduces the no parking setback at the N16 and C16 Red Oaks Trail intersection from 50 feet to 30 feet, consistent with the FHWA MUTCD intersection guidance for stop-controlled intersections. Number 2, removes the need for a mid-block crosswalk and associated 25-foot visibility buffer, thereby providing a total of 7 on-street parking stalls on the north side of Red Oaks Trail. And 3, retains the south side parking temporarily with the understanding that the south side will be reevaluated when the Ruby on Providence commercial development comes forward.
All in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can I just ask one more thing, James, for you to just get some numbers for, besides the Kingston, the Fallondale Road in Millbridge. So I'm just kind of curious the difference between the widths of these roads. I mean, Fallondale is a smaller road. They park on both sides of the road. It's like a maze going through there. And my biggest concern is we pick and choose here which roads we're going to enforce an ordinance on. So I think we need to look at some of these other roads too then.
That's a fair point, and we've already started to look at Fallondale as well. The issue with Fallondale is it's really a legacy issue as far as the widths that were permitted when that came to construction. It does meet the minimum POW bill widths. It does not really meet the minimum widths to accommodate for parking on both sides of the street, which is why we are looking into options of either A, eliminating parking on that roadway, or B, eliminating parking on one side of the roadway and restricting it to one side.
And Fallondale doesn't have 16 with all that traffic, and so there's another caveat there.
But there are other roads downtown that do. And is that 1,000 feet or whatever buffer that you're talking about enforced on those roads as well?
So that's one of the considerations that we were looking at, is to provide some consistency amongst. That's why we had the 25 and the 50 feet and the mid-block crossing, because that all is consistent. I mean, if you look downtown, there's cases adjacent to the intersections where there's no parking within 25 feet to 50 feet from that intersection, depending upon where it is. So it's really handled on a case-by-case basis, because there is a significant legacy issue when you're trying to modernize some of these outdated infrastructure roadways. It's a challenge.
And one of the big things to keep in mind with Millbridges and Fallondale Road is there's a lot of roads that have that same width. So that could very well be a very large can of worms if we start fiddling around.
Well, that's my point with this. If we're going to go allow one street to not have parking, then you're picking and choosing. And we have to be consistent with our ordinances.
Well, my worry with the Millbridge neighborhood in general is that so many of those roads are that narrow that could be a problem, but that's a discussion.
That's understood, but as Commissioner Wetcher stated, or you just stated, that's not off of a main road, or a business in front of those roads. Those are housing areas right there. But there are main roads that we have where you have businesses there and homes behind them, and you're not enforcing this same type of rule that you want to enforce on this road. That's where you're picking and choosing.
And that's something that I think can be addressed through the years, because a big part of this has to do with taking an existing road and bringing it up to a current standard. As I'm understanding the presentation and everything that's been discussed here, all this has to do with bringing things up to a current standard. And if you've ever done any kind of home repairs, one of the worst things you can be told is that's not the current code. And that's basically what this all boils down to, is meeting current standards. So the motion was given, the motion was explained. I saw the two on this side. Barbie, did you get all the votes from that previous motion vote?
Yes, I got 2 opposed, Commissioner Wedra and Commissioner Daunt, and 3 yes votes on the other end.
Okay. Cool. Just want to make sure we captured that vote, and it was
I did. Thank
official.
you.
Very well then. That concludes this item.
Thank you.
There was an addition to the agenda, a discussion about the downtown master plan. Anything in particular to discuss?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the downtown master plan as presented.
Is this something that also requires a 2/3 to add, since it wasn't on the agenda originally, Barbie?
I don't think this would warrant a 2/3 vote for this particular item.
Okay. Well, I'll just make it clear that it was a deliberate effort to keep this off the agenda because I didn't want to have a vote just yet. We have a new board coming in literally a matter of weeks. This is a future plan, so I think it's important that the future board take a look at that plan and have their say. The board has seen this plan and read this plan and hopefully provided all your input on this plan. And now I think we want to get the input from the new upcoming board as well.
I mean, well, you have 2 commissioners here that have been on the DWA since day one and have been involved in the plan and have been working with the DWA, and we've extended the input sessions so that more people could give input. And by putting it off until the next board is actually incredibly disrespectful for those of us who have worked on it for 2 years.
It's not disrespectful because we're not taking it out and throwing it out. We're just taking it and allowing the future board to approve this future plan. Nobody has taken this plan and thought about, removing it or not doing anything with it. It will get voted on. It will get voted on soon. I just think it needs to be done by the future board.
There's a motion on the table.
I still have several questions about the municipal service district. I have questions about the grant opportunities discussed. Are they town-sponsored? Who's sponsoring them? When? How are they sponsored? Where is that money coming from? What is the synthetic project financing? These are questions that are in the weeds of this plan that we as a board have not had access to computers for a bit. That's delayed looking at this. I know that Ashley emailed some changes from the input sessions that I didn't have access to. I just got my computer.
The latest version was emailed 2 days ago.
Right, and
okay, you could look at that on a regular computer. You could have forwarded an email from your phone to your regular computer.
I didn't have access to the email, so
okay,
if
there's
you
a motion
insist
on the
pushing
table.
this through, then I'm going to have to be a no.
All right, there's a motion on the table.
I haven't had a chance to digest the changes that were made only a few days ago. I had to work half the weekend this past weekend, so I'm not ready.
The master plan is, as all other plans, a living document, which means changes will be made, things will be taken out, things may be upgraded. There will be changes consistently made to the plan that the plan as it is today may not look exactly the same way tomorrow, next month, next year, for the next 2 years, whenever the new board is in, whenever there's another board in, it may not look the same. So the opportunity to make changes, to revise, anything that's in there is not taken away from anyone on the board today or the new board that comes in on December the 9th.
The opportunity to revise does not justify forcing a vote on it before people are ready.
I'm not talking justification. I am talking, as you stated, the opportunity. The opportunity, as you asked for, is there.
Very well. The motion has been made. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Next up, we have new business. Mr. James Kelly, come on down.
Alrighty. Well, good evening again. This one should be quick. So this is really just a resolution endorsing the 2025 CRTPO DA, which stands for Direct Attributable Supplemental Funding Request for the Kensington Drive Improvements Project. So once this is adopted, the town staff can then proceed with finalizing our application and submitting it to CRTPO by the end of the week. And essentially, you know, there is a financial impact to this. With that said, though, luckily we've accounted for some contingency within the project. So there won't be as large of a financial impact, if any, really, once this moves through CRTPO. And hopefully, if that award is granted, then the town will be granted a $374,175 grant to assist with that project. And that money will go towards construction, specifically towards utility relocation.
Any questions by the board? Hearing none. Can I get a motion then to adopt resolution RES 2025-026?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
I look forward to voting for the Sicarpo. All righty, leadership reports. Mr. Scott Dadson, what do you got?
Just a project update for folks. You know, we're doing, Union County is doing work in the downtown area on a water project. They've wrapped up their work on Rehoboth Road last week, and they're beginning to proceed on South Providence Street and King Street. So I want to let everybody know that, starting this week. Not sure what the rain did to them this week, but it was supposed to start this week. We also have some other construction and stormwater improvements going on. Blythe Mill and North Providence Road, road and stormwater and road improvements in that area. And the road will be closed in late October to mid-November for developer-led projects. Just want to let everyone know about that as well. It's leaf season. It's leaf season. If you go on the website and go online, you see a great new video featuring our very famous Matt Cohen out there. There he is. Tip your hat. But talking about leaf season, and hopefully it'll be a big help to the residents on these matters. So they know when they come through, how the schedule works, what to put out, where to put it, when to put it, all of those kinds of things. So I've just brought all those things to your attention, and that's all I have at this time.
Thank you, thank you. And yes, just a note, leaf season is for leaves only, just the leaves. That's all the town has taken. Let's see here. Next up, Ms. Ashley Knoll.
Hi, guys. I'm Ashley Knoll, the Business Development Director for the town. I wanted to get a quick update from our Fright Night event that we held last Saturday on October 25th, and really just give a bunch of thank yous. This event is a really big partnership between our downtown businesses, town departments, as well as the Downtown Waxhaw Association, Historic Preservation Commission, and Waxhaw Community Theater. This year, we had over 9,500 people that were in attendance at the event. This is a 12% increase from last year. We were really excited to see that. It felt like more people, so it was exciting to see those numbers today. As I mentioned, this event isn't possible without support from a lot of our other departments, as well as our volunteers. So from Parks and Rec dropping off and picking up barricades, our fire marshal for putting out electric signs for us, our public services team for making downtown look beautiful for the weekend, and also somehow getting us like the most gorgeous fall weather we could ask for. Our police department for keeping us safe, and specifically Lieutenant Zill, Officers Neve, Struby, Falconberry, and Vic for being there with us that evening. We had a lot of DWA board members that helped that day as well. And I do want to give a specific shout out to our volunteers. This is a really big event to plan for with a department of 2.5 people. And we have some of the best volunteers that help out in downtown. So I specifically want to call out Jim Hill and Deandra Scott. I don't know if Deandra, yeah, she's still here. She is the best deliverer of candy I think I've ever seen. We had, I think, close to 40 businesses that got candy delivered to them, and Deandra and Jim made that possible. Madison, Janet, Lauren, Larry all assisted with putting out street closure signs and yard signs to help advertise the event throughout town. Kate Stallman, Brendan Toms, Rick Bandazian, Commissioner Wesolek, Jordan Ben, Michael Canova, and his Action for Good team helped open and close the streets downtown, lots of parallel parking spaces. Kate Stallman, Michael's and his Action for Good team, Commissioner Wesolek, Madison Miller, Audrey Constantino, Lisa Gibson, and Dan Garrett helped us run the Downtown Waxhaw Association table, where we gave out some allergy-friendly treats. And then additionally, we do a haunted history tour, the Waxhaw After Dark tour with Historic Preservation. Brendan Toms, Ann Leck, John and Aaliyah Mullen with the Historic Preservation Commission, as well as Tamara Baez, Pam Mykowski, and Caleb Dalby with the Waxhaw Community Theater. This was the first year we partnered with them on the tour. We had 4 tour times this year. We were able to raise over $1,200 for the Downtown Waxhaw Association on that sold-out tour. It was a really cool event. The Mombies, I don't know if anyone got to see the Mombies do their flash mobs downtown. This is a really cool grassroots effort that's organized by moms in our community to just help bring belonging and friendship. And we were just so excited to get to partner with them on the event this year. And then I want to talk through our downtown businesses too. They planned all kinds of different crafts, games, costume contests, and we had a trunk or treat, different parties, bands throughout the evening, photo ops, and sales all weekend long. This truly is one of my favorite events because I think it just shows how strong our community is, and just how incredible it is when we come together, all of our talents together to create something really organic and fun for everyone to be a part of. And then lastly, this would not have been possible without our staff. I know Alara and Brandy are both here in the back. Alara worked tirelessly with our businesses to be sure that they all knew about the event, understood how to be involved in the event, collaborated with our other community partners to get them involved. She was the one who connected with the Mombies and made that connection possible and made that partnership possible. She then communicated the event to the public, attracting our residents and visitors to share what was happening, all while communicating on other events and projects. October is one of our busiest months. We had several different events and projects that we're communicating to the businesses. So thank you, Alara, for making this possible and somehow making it, communicating it clearly and didn't get confused with the rest of our messaging. And then Brandy helps us part-time in the department, and she is just willing to do literally anything, like printing, creating signage, ordering supplies, or picking up a lot of candy in the back of her truck and helping get that delivered. Her behind the scenes really helped make that event possible. So like I said, I just want to thank the team in the business development department, all of our departments in the town that helped out, all of our volunteers, and really give credit for helping make this big event what it was able to be. So thank you.
Thank you. I can personally attest that Fright Night was, in fact, a good time. Next up, Ms. Dina.
Good evening. Up tomorrow, we've got a costume party for Hero. It got moved to the rec barn because our weather's a little iffy for tomorrow, so bring your costumes and get ready for that tomorrow at 3 o'clock at the rec barn. Upcoming events, we have Veterans Day on Tuesday, November the 11th at 11 a.m. at the Wall of Honor downtown. Please come join us for that. Our big day is November the 22nd. That is a Saturday with lighting up all of Waxhaw and our tree lighting event inside the downtown park. And again, that's lighting up all of Waxhaw, very magical night. That morning, we actually have Ginger Snap. That is our Girls on the Run activity that morning. So lots of little people in our downtown, starting like at 6:30. They started arriving, but we're out there around 5:30. So be aware of that. Some road closures going on with that as well. And then you'll keep an eye on social for all the December activities, because it's pretty much every weekend from now on. So please keep that in mind when you're planning your travels and having family in. Come join us. Any questions?
Questions? Nope.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
It's definitely event season, so get out there and enjoy. It's a good time. Any comments from the commissioners? Yes, that's you. That's you.
Okay.
You're a commissioner, right?
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Brenda McMillan, take it away.
I have two quick comments. One was pointed out to me for something that was posted on social media. So those of you who know me know I don't really do social media, but people send me things. So they sent me this, and I felt that I needed to say something with regard to it. It was a post that related to seeing that Monroe is holding a food drive for people who may be in need, or for people who may lose their food stamp or other benefits come November 1st, and wanted to know what is Waxhaw doing to assist people who are in need. Now, I point this post out because in the post there were comments that were made by individuals. It seems a lot of them said anonymous, but they pointed to things being either political for people who may be in need, to racial for people who may be in need. But I think what we need to understand as human beings is that those who are in need are just human beings. Has nothing to do with politics or anything else. It has to do with veterans who may not be receiving enough assistance to live. It has to do with senior citizens who are living on fixed incomes. It has to do with people who are disabled or who have children who are disabled. So when we see need, I don't see politics. I don't see race. I don't see anything else but a human being. Now, each year, I work with Dina in putting together lists of senior citizens and other people here in the community who are in need. And my family and I, we don't often talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it now because I'm on my way out. So I've done it for over 10 years. We go and we buy meals. We buy them. And there may be one or two other members of the community who assist us. And I fill my truck and other trucks with food and necessities, and we take it to people who don't have, who are in need. Now, I normally do that for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, But then I do it throughout the year because those people still need throughout the year. So when we look at people, you don't know if that person is the neighbor that you have next door who may need something. You don't know if it is the person across the street from you. You could see that person every single day and not know that that is somebody who may just need a little bit of help. So I think that our humanity and our compassion and our understanding for people as human beings, we need to really take a look at that, and not just once or twice a year when Thanksgiving or Christmas comes up and you want to feel, oh, let me do something. If you have a little extra to help somebody and you see them that they may need that help, I think that we need to open our minds and our hearts as human beings. One other thing I'd want to say on that is that in Waxhaw, the United Methodist Church, the Ray of Hope is at Sweet Repeats, and the Waxhaw Baptist Church, they all provide assistance if there's anyone out there who is listening who does not know that. And there are some food drop-off places too that people can find throughout here in town. And the Waxhaw Catholic Church too. So please keep that in mind. One last thing. A couple of weeks ago, there was a power dip that occurred in the community that I'm in. And with that power dip, when the power came back on, my home became filled with smoke. We couldn't find where the smoke was coming from. We didn't know what was happening at the time. And I want to just say thank you publicly to the Waxhaw Fire Department, who came out, and to Officers Jennings, Boatwright, Womack, Vic Montalvo, who was also there to assist in finding and helping to find what was going on in the home, which could have been a very serious problem, an electrical fire. So thank you, Waxhaw Fire Department. They were right there before I could almost hang up the phone. And I just want to express my public appreciation to those who did come.
Thank you. Well said.
Ashley stood up there and thanked a lot of people that helped out with Fright Night, but I just want to thank Ashley for what she did. I couldn't believe how calm you were during that entire event. I was with Ashley from about noon till 9 o'clock at night, and the way she had that so organized, and it was flawless. And Alara, you too. You were there too, running around. And I just wanted to say thank you. You know, when I first became a commissioner, we had somebody else running the downtown Main Street program, and you have just turned it around downtown, and everything you've accomplished has just been amazing, and we've been very lucky to have you.
Anyone else? Thank you. Those are great comments.
Just one brief little thing.
Please.
Because we have a election looming. It's on a Tuesday, and I know some people maybe work long hours or commute a long distance, and it might be difficult to get out on election day. But this Saturday, you have an opportunity from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Union County Library in Monroe, if election day is difficult for you.
Early voting, always an option. Anyone else? All righty. Can I get a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Aye. We are now adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.